Hello, and welcome to Wayward Souls, where we talk about wayward things. I hope you all are doing well, and I wish you the best in life. Um, Today, we're going to talk about how to know when to move on. So, how do you know when to move on from XYZ, relationships, toxic situations? Like could be a job, even like things like that. This is based on like what I've observed in my life experience. No, it's not like psychological advice or anything, but like this is what I feel has been the key signs to when to move on because I've had to change my life up so many times. So yeah, these are some ideas that I've just come up with that some signs that if it's happening to you, you might want to take a deeper look at that, eh? Hey there, bud. Okay, so the first point that I have to make when to know to move on is when you over time you've noticed that you're consistently more and more depressed, feeling burnt out. You constantly have a low mood, low vibes. You're not quite as on par or as bouncy as you once were. Like you could be feeling super fatigued and things like that. Like, just like even when there's good things that come up, you still feel like when there's good days and things like that, like you still overall feel like it's not fulfilling you anymore. That is the first point. So just keep an eye out for like throughout the time that you're in a situation, how often you feel elevated or you feel like this is benefiting you and your highest good. Pay attention to how often you feel that feeling compared to how often you feel super drained, super dragged down, really resistant to going into work or meeting up with that person or going to that event, whatever it is. Pay attention to how you feel over, every day. Keep track if you have to, or weekly, keep track of, reflect on how often you feel these feelings, because that'll really indicate what's really meant for you or not, because, we deserve to live good lives. So really like focus on what elevates you, right? You want to like your purpose in life is what you're passionate about, what you're happy about. So when you feel like your light is dimming, you're not in the right situation. And by the way, sorry if my voice sounds funny. Like I was petting my cats and I didn't take antihistamines, so my allergies are just crazy right now. Okay, so the second note, when you're in a situation that is becoming toxic, we can often be hopeful about changes and hoping for the better. And so the second point is the changes that you want to happen aren't happening. And again, this is more of an observation over a period of time that you've been in this situation or relationship or job. Like if there's hope for change or things that will get better and stuff like that. Like if you've been there for so long and you're at the point of burnout, then and you're not seeing any changes, or even when they do come, they're not working, like it's not making it better for you. Well, then like it's time to move on, because what that is trying to find reasons to stay, because you're fearful of making a change, or at least that's how I experienced it. Like you're not ready to make a change yet, or you don't feel like it's time, and there's also things like just fear to make a change, and so we hope that if there's changes within the situation that it'll get better. And sometimes it does. And honestly, sometimes it doesn't. And that's how you know it's no longer meant for your path. It's time to switch it up it's time to switch it up a wee bit. But yeah, if you aren't seeing any positive changes in the situation you're in, like GTFO, my friend. And so the third one, when you start to develop physical symptoms, yes, this is some real shit. Studies or scientists are starting to really come up or talk about the fact that emotional distress manifests in the physical body. And in my personal belief system, we are all the energy bodies, and we have like, I'll get into it in another video, but basically it holds our emotional body as well. And what happens is, we have energy meridians throughout the body, or chakras. And what happens is these places, based on our emotions and how we feel overall, like they can actually clog up our chakras. And depending where the chakra is, you can develop really harsh symptoms. Like anxiety and stress is related to a lack of the root chakra and feeling safe. And so when that happens, you can develop things like IBS and stomach issues. And scientists can even explain that stomach issues have a connection to stress levels. And listening to your gut and things like that is really interesting stuff. I will make a video on it. But for example, like you can when you feel stress for a long period of time, you can start to develop stomach issues, insomnia, and then that adds to your fatigue. You can develop like, sorry, I'm trying to think of an example. But yeah, like for I guess y'all know in my case, like I developed serious stomach issues from all the stress and anxiety I went through, like in high school and everything like that. Like it's just brutal. You can develop migraines from like, being like super indecisive, or like having anxieties about the future. And like it's just so interesting how the body is related to your emotional body. And when you start to really feel these physical symptoms like back pain, whatever, take a look at how you're feeling on a daily basis, your emotions, where your emotions consistently at, if they're becoming consistently low. And, you might be suffering with depression your whole life, so have I. But what I found was, when I start to really notice a change from before I was in the situation till now being in the situation, and just constantly having like body pains or something that like I didn't really have before, when I felt more like, when I just felt better, just paying attention to that and thinking like, well, how am I emotionally feeling right now? What's going on with me emotionally? Is there like buried like feelings that I'm not addressing, that I'm not even fully aware of? Because we could be really good at hiding and stuffing, like especially negative emotions. And when we're in situations, we want it to be okay. It's hard to acknowledge that something isn't working out for us. And so sometimes we can subconsciously just stuff a feeling down, or a truth about a situation. And that can actually start to build up emotionally in the body and clog your chakras and possibly cause some physical symptoms. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, ask yourself how you're feeling emotionally when you start to feel physical symptoms, and in regards to, see if it relates to the situation you're in. Okay. And then the fourth one is, although you fear change, you almost feel like you can't breathe, or that you constantly need to escape. So when I was in situations or jobs, or like, where I was starting to really come to terms with how toxic it was, or how uncomfortable it is, like you get to a certain point, or at least I did, where I couldn't ignore how uncomfortable I was. And so I would constantly feel like a tightness in my chest. I would feel like this constant need to just escape. Like, I was smoking a lot more at the time. I was drinking more, and yeah, but it's weird, like in my body, like I would just feel this tightness in my chest and this like sickness in my stomach. Like I just need to not be here. And you should always listen to, this is related to the third point I made, but you should always listen to how you're physically feeling, even when it's things like in the moment. So if you're feeling like tightness in your chest, you're feeling like anxious, or like you're feeling like you're, constant butterflies in your stomach, like instability, like that is a sign that you are not feeling safe. and, you know, your root chakra is depleted and you don't feel grounded or safe. And so you should see why you're feeling that way. And yeah, I would say like a big indicator is because of the place that you're at, like, you know, in relation or whatever it is you're involved in. So I just want to say that like change is a scary thing, and you know, diving into the unknown is like, it's really hard to do. In my experience, I was at a warehouse job that I really liked for a long time, but I just was finding it to be, you know, a little bit toxic masculinity, a little bit like there we had time for tomfoolery there, and I loved my position because I was really good at it, but I just found that like a lot, like it started to lower my vibes. I felt like I was becoming a different person, and I needed more good energy in my life. There wasn't enough positive energy where I was, and I really felt like it was making me smaller than I needed to be, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. And so this was a time where there was like a BCGEU union strike, and that involved Government Weed of BC, and this dispensary was like on the verge of closing, but it was such a beautiful place, and I had a dream about me being there. And when I went to the interview to this job, it was so amazing and it was beautiful in there. And I wanted to be a part of, I love marijuana. I see it as a plant medicine, and I wanted to be a part of that. And I was meditating on it. I was communicating with my spirit guides, and it just felt like I just had this feeling that it was going to work out. And it felt like it was such an easy transition, like such a flow, even though there was emotion, like it was emotional to leave and scary. I trusted that it would work out. Like I knew that it was meant for me. And so I took that leap of faith, and we didn't have to shut the store down. We made it through, and now they pass laws where we can get product directly from licensed producers. So even if there's another strike, we'll be fine. So it's freaking awesome. And yeah, like I just trusted that I needed to leave, and I took that chance. And, you know, sometimes it might not be as smooth of a transition for whatever your situation is, but just know that like whatever is out there, like if you trust that you deserve better and that better is out there for you, no matter what, like if you leave this situation, it might be messy for, you know, could be a while, could be up to a year, could be more, could be less, could be like a month or a week, but just know that there's just better out there for you that can fill you up inside, make you feel happier than what you're experiencing right now. Because I've worked some shitty jobs and I've worked some really awesome jobs, and it's always like there's always a way. It's like, or at least where I live, like I'm definitely blessed and fortunate to be living in Canada. I do wish I was living in certain parts of like Europe though, just because it's beautiful. But yeah, and I just also want to say that some things are just meant to be in your life for a short period of time. It may not be forever, and you might have had some really good experiences in this situation, and possibly some serious learning lessons that you might learn even afterwards. And yeah, you might, but then just realizing that when it's no longer serving you, you might start to notice these symptoms and signs that I mentioned. And yeah, it's not always meant to be for a long period of time. Okay, guys, I wish you all the best on your journey, and good luck, like blessings to you all. Thank you for listening to this little podcast here. And yeah, if you're in a tough situation or anything, like I wish you good luck, and I hope you get what you need out of life. Love you. Bye.